What an episode. I feel like although we were jumping around three different groups of scenes at the very beginning of the Real Housewives of Orange County, but by the end of it, I said, what a cast we have this season. I'm actually impressed, especially with everything that's going on across this franchise where the casts aren't consistent. They aren't necessarily bringing it. I mean, I will give the OC, they've really found their way over the last 3 seasons, no matter what, what's her name? Oh God, something Dodd. Why can't I think of her name? Because she's a non-factor. Because she's continuously, Kelly Dodd, there we go. She's continuously shading RHOC and their ratings and things like that. I don't even care about the ratings because if anything, the ratings have been decent. Look, ratings for reality television have been down across the board. But this is a stellar cast. I didn't even think their cast from last season was too bad either. But we've just gotten better this season. And we don't really have necessarily a great focus on one terrible toxic thing. And I know they're fighting over the paparazzi thing which we're over. But I wasn't even sure which trip. In my mind, I'm like, because I was already going to ask you guys, which trip you felt was better. But I'm not going to even ask you. You can share your thoughts on which trip you felt was better. I feel like both trips had me going, what's going on here? What are they talking about here? So both trips for me were like, although very different, I was still very much engaged in both groups. Because at first it's like, okay, all this jumping around is too much. And the only reason why I'm saying that as someone that reviews the show is because I'm trying to take notes. But as if I was just watching this just to watch it for fun, which I'm going to do, I'll look briefly at my notes, but I don't want this to be that. And I've told you guys this. I didn't leave my corporate job to turn this into a very rigid job. Oh, I got to take notes. No, I'm going to tell you how I felt about the episode. If I forget something, ta-da, go watch the episode. I'm not here to let you know every single moment that happened in the episode. I'm going to focus on the things that stood out to me, the things that I remember, because if I don't remember it, it's not important. I'll get back to it or I'll mention it in another recap. But I will say, if I had to rate this week's episode, I'll save that for later. You guys let me know in the live chat where you're watching from, how you would rate this week's episode, and what stood out to you. Let's get into our Real Housewives of Orange County recap.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. As always, don't forget you can also hear an audio version of our live recaps on the Kempire podcast. While you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and or on Spotify. All right, before we get into it, oh, I forgot to put my flowers in here because I've been keeping my flowers, my Rose Forever flowers, roses that will last you up to a year, actually a lot longer, but we'll just say for legal purposes, up to a year. And of course, they're affordable. More importantly, I know a lot of you, very much like me, have been moving, or maybe you just want to refresh your home. Rose Forever has a whole assortment of different roses, different colors, different sizes that can accommodate you your home, and your budget. We're partnering with Rose Forever yet again as I'm still celebrating this new home, this new chapter, new studio space. I'm just going to have to get more flowers because right now I've been keeping the roses that I have, the new roses that I just got from Rose Forever, on my kitchen counter because that's where I'm spending most of my time, in the kitchen, in the living room. So that's where I keep them. But I'm going to have to get some more. I think I'm going to get a bunch for the studio. But as always, we got you covered. Go check out the description for more details on our friends over at Rose Forever in the description. All right. Where do we start? Because I have to say, as I said earlier, it was a little frustrating as someone that recaps the show to have 3 different scenes where one scene we're with Emily and Heather, another scene we're with Tamra and Jenn at the beach, another scene where we're Katie and Gina in another thing, and they're talking about each other. So it's hard to keep up and it's hard to recap. So I'm just going to take it as the way that I want to take it. First of all, Emily, I don't get your hard on for Jenn. I've said this already over the last couple of weeks. I don't get it. It's giving jealous. Period. It's just giving jealous. And I don't get it. And you're talking about her wearing a Rolex that doesn't work. First of all, just because it doesn't work doesn't mean she can't go get it fixed. She can't go get it fixed because she's having money problems. Do you guys think that Jenn should sell her Rolex? I don't think she should. I think, yes, she's having some money issues temporarily because of the divorce that she's having with her husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband. Well, they just recently had a settlement. We talk about this every single week. But at the time, she had money issues. And yes, is Jenn the best money manager? As Heather said, maybe not. But why are you yelling at someone for being dumb? But Emily, I think, took on Gina's frustration and thought she was being a loyal friend by going so hard at Jenn. I think it was some of that, and I also think that it was some jealousy. So I think Emily is jealous of Jenn, but I also think that she was trying to fight a battle for Gina because Gina was in her ear about, she could have ruined my career. I'm just getting started. But but she's been taking digs at Jenn since the season began. I know we're only on episode 6, but every single episode she's taking a dig at Jenn. And look, is Jenn the best money manager? No. But I always tell you, I feel like Jenn has a good heart, so I always give her a little grace. Gina, I don't even know if Gina has a good heart, to be honest with you. Just based off this episode alone, I'm seeing another side of Gina that maybe has always been there, but I'm like, you're a little sneaky. And Tamra being the one to point out, do you think that Gina set you up, Katie? I think you all set her up. I think Gina was a part of setting her up because she's been in Housewives a long time. And it's become this toxic trend across all the cities where these housewives do these little antics behind the scenes. So I do believe on some level, Gina's like, they did this to me, I'm going to do it to you, Katie. But I also don't think Tamra's innocent. I think Tamra is there also as a puppeteer trying to produce these different stories. That is also a trend with these housewives, always trying to self-produce a show. And I don't believe production or the network wants them to do that, but they are trying to do that because they don't want production producing for them. Anyways, so Emily and Heather talk about her issues with Jenn and why she was being so aggressive with Jenn. What else? Heather says that she feels betrayed by Gina because of what went down with Katie. Because she's like, you knew about this whole Katie thing for months and you didn't even say anything. You didn't even vet the information. No matter how you feel about Heather, she would have been great in a debate team. She always comes with some very solid information, and they're like, you know what, Heather, I never thought about it that way. And honestly, watching her in this episode, I can see why people might not like Heather, but the way she's such a caricature. I wouldn't even say a caricature of herself. No, she's just a caricature, and it makes me I find her entertaining. She doesn't necessarily have a major storyline. She's not necessarily carrying the show. But I like her pretentiousness. And I know I say this probably every season since she's been back. I'm just like, I like her. I just like her the way she is. Because although it feels inauthentic to people, meaning that no one could possibly be this way, I feel like her inauthentic is authentic to her If that makes sense. Probably not. Probably not to you, but it makes sense to me and our community, right? Community? Right? Oh, okay. Anyways, so we have that scene with Emily and Heather, but then we have Tamra and Jenn at the beach. And Jenn is saying she's reacting to also how Emily has been aggressive towards her and making all these comments. And she's making it seem like she doesn't pay people. Who is one of the housewives that, oh, Sheree. See, that's different. There are multiple people that have had accusations against Sheree. And I think for Jenn, she's like, first of all, especially on Housewives, especially in the Bravo universe, saying something like that on this show will stick to Jenn, and it's not necessarily true. She has one particular place that's, well, no, technically, Jenn, you have the place that Gina rented for you, and then you also have the yoga studio that says you owe them money. So there might be a little bit of a pattern, but I'm going to give you grace because it all kind of happened at the same time. But if we have a years from now, you're still having money issues, we're going to have to be looking at you. All right. But Jenn brings up that what Gina said in regards to how her best friend, Emily, has changed. So I didn't expect this in this episode or this season because I really, and I've said this before since I started recapping Real Housewives of Orange County, I really like Emily and Gina's friendship. It feels very real. It feels like a real friendship. And I also love their little quirky antics together. I did not expect in this season that we might see a rift. Do I think they'll get over their rift? Yes, I hope so. I really do not want to see another best friend break up this season. I really don't. I don't want to see that. But Gina, though, she's been saying some stuff about Emily being up Tamra's you-know-what. But technically, Emily has been saying the same thing about Gina being up Heather's you-know-what. And to be honest with you, Gina, you have been up Heather's you-know-what. I think Emily is just trying to get along with Tamra. I don't think she's up Tamra's you-know-what. We also had this other scene with Katie, Gina, and Shannon, and they talk about how Shannon is being sued by someone that's connected to Alexis yet again. Because you remember Alexis's ex-husband sued her. Now John Jansen is suing her. So she brings up this, I just got a letter that John Jansen is suing me for $75,000 for partially a loan and partially the money for her facelift. Shannon has been looking great this season. She has definitely, she's dropped some weight. The facelift is facelifting. She looks great. They also talk about going on 2 separate trips. At one point, Emily invites Heather to this trip, but she's like, I want to confront Gina about how she's been treating me and what went down with Katie. Do you still want me to go on this trip? So one trip, they're going to La Quinta, where I don't even know how Gina got this listing because she's a new real estate agent. So for her to be a new real estate agent, getting an $8.9 million listing, if she sells it, good for her. If she doesn't, Emily Vargas, girl, you went to the wrong person. Also, speaking of wrong person, every time they show that confessional with Gina, with the hair and that dress, I can't help but laugh. I'm like, this woman really has been on Housewives how many seasons and still can't get it together when it comes to her look. Honestly, I like her regular look when she's filming than her confessionals. And that's when you're really supposed to, really up your game. But okay. So every time they go to that confessional look, what did she, I have to keep rewinding. Like, what did she say? I was so distracted by her look. Anyone else? I definitely was so distracted by her look. All right. I'll move on. Look, I'll move on. So they have 2 separate trips where the ladies are going to be going on. So Katie, Tamra, Alexis, and Jenn are going to go to Big Bear, to Tamra's home in Big Bear. And like I said, Gina is about to sell this home in La Quinta. So Emily Vargas, or Elizabeth Vargas. No, was it Elizabeth Vargas? It's Elizabeth Vargas. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. Isn't that news anchor named Elizabeth Vargas? Is that why I kept on getting mixed up in my head? Anyways, it's unimportant. She was only there for a brief moment. But it's her home. She's given Gina the listing. Okay? Anyway, so we get to see these 2 separate trips. And at first I was like, oh my God, 2 separate trips? I'm sure we've done this before in Housewives, and you guys will remind me in the chat or the comment section. I'm sure we've done 2 separate trips with a major cast like this. And I was at first thinking to myself, I don't think this is going to work. But it worked. And like I said, I was ready to ask you guys, which trip did you feel was better than the other? And feel free to share what you thought. But for me, I was entertained by both trips. I was entertained by Tamra. I still think Tamra is a terrible friend and possibly a terrible human being. Possibly still a terrible human being. However, her home is beautiful. You know we love a home renovation. And they show the before and after. So you did a good job with that, Tamra. That looked great. I did feel for her too. You know, after you do a major home renovation, all of a sudden you have a leak. It's like, but that's the thing of having a home. So we get to see her home renovation. We also get to see Katie's standing out in these 3 blondes. They say what did they say? The blondes have more fun. I don't know about that, but it was interesting to see Alexis. Alexis was constantly talking about John Jansen. They had a good time, though. I have to say, them making fun of Alexis and Alexis's antics, them going down and tubing. I was like, that looks like fun. That looks like something that I would actually do. I wouldn't do skiing because I'm afraid to, run into a tree. But at least right there, it didn't seem like you would run into a tree. Hopefully not. Alexis goes down without warning. Like, she's so kooky and so ditzy, but almost in a lovable way, except when she starts defending John Jansen. I think that's where people are turned off by you, because this is not your fight. And I said this last week during our last recap, that it feels as if Alexis came in with a chip on her shoulder. It was giving very thirsty. And at first I didn't expect that. I was sort of like, okay, maybe she just wanted to come back. I mean, there's always a level of thirst in these housewives wanting to come back. She wants clearly to be full-time. Last week, her taking a dig at Vicki Gunvalson saying, oh, now you're in my world. And Vicki Gunvalson is like, no, this will always be my world. And to be honest with you, I'm not going to take that away from Vicki. It will be. You are not Vicki Gunvalson, and you're not a part of the history of OC. I mean, you are, but people would forget about you, okay? Especially this season too, Alexis. Instead of really making this season about you, your own personal story, your own personality, you made your personality about John Jansen and defending him. So I feel like that takes away from people really getting to know you, especially someone as someone that's not familiar with you and your history on the OC. I'm sort of looking like, this is just John Jansen's girlfriend defending him and coming after Shannon. And look, I'm not saying that Shannon is someone that can't be come after. Yes, I am endeared to Shannon. I've never denied that. I still say that what she did was wrong. Drinking and driving is always wrong. I do also believe she is in some denial in regards to her drinking. But you coming so hard, and even in this episode, at the end, you're saying that you have video evidence. Obviously, you got this video evidence from John Jansen, and the fact that he would give this information to you and do what with it? We're talking about someone that possibly has a disease. We're just talking about this in a separate video, talking about Matthew Perry. So if you missed that video yesterday that I posted in regards to the update in regards to Matthew Perry and the 5 people that were arrested in connection to his death, be sure to check that out. But we were talking about, we need to maybe stop saying addiction and say disease, so people would take a different approach to it. And again, Shannon has denied that she's an alcoholic. However, the fact that you guys, and Tamra, you as someone that has history with Shannon, that says that you were once her friend, you've gone so hard at her. I personally, in real life, would never be your friend, because you have shown to me that. And I'm not saying, and I'm not trying to justify what Shannon did, because 2 things can exist. What Shannon did was wrong, but Tamra, you sort of being very defaming, but being very disgusting when it comes to someone having a disease and justifying it because you're like, you shouldn't be drinking and driving. We understand that, but shaming that person, triggering that person, and making just disgusting comments about her. And then as Alexis is telling us in this last scene about the video evidence, all you go back and watch the scene. You'll see Tamra just sitting there like a puppeteer, Look, just looking real evil, laid back as Alexis does her dirty work. And it wouldn't shock me if Alexis and Tamra planned this after she knew that she was coming for the season. It wouldn't shock me. This is what Tamra does. Tamra much rather pre-produce scenes and come after people instead of giving her own personal story. Go back and watch that scene as Alexis is talking about video evidence that would ruin Shannon's life. You're okay with that, Tamra? No matter how many issues. Look, I have issues with people that I'm not friends with. But maybe this makes me a different type of person. I'm not going to go, like, there's stuff that I could say about people that I'm not cool with. People that I didn't even have deep friendships with, that I still don't do that. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't if you take me there, but it would take a lot. That's the Taurus in me, I think. Or the decent human being that's in me that Tamra Judge does not have. But go back and watch the scene and watch Tamra just sitting there as Alexis is talking about, yeah, I have this information and this video evidence that would ruin her life. And Jenn, who is the only person with scruples, and Katie as well, is like, this feels weird. Katie, Asian flush? I feel like I've heard that before. But it's not lost on me when Katie's just like, you could tell these folks don't have Asian friends. And then I thought to myself, is that where I've heard it from before? The Asian flush, and when they drink? Is that really like scientifically proven? It wouldn't surprise me, and I think Asians too, very much like black people, are more prone to like lactose intolerance as well. Maybe. Look, you guys, we'll discuss in the live chat and in the comments section. I know I'm jumping around, but look, this episode jumped around. If you're just joining us, guys, this is our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Orange County. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, and don't forget to listen to the podcast version. Sometimes what I do, I add special additional thoughts. So if there were things that I forgot to say, sometimes I'll add it there. All right. And be sure to check out some of the past episodes, including our Kempire After Dark live experience that happened here in New York City, where we had special guests, the Brooke Ashley, and we had the cast of Summer House Martha's Vineyard come through and drop some tea. The audio version is available, but if you want to see the video version, become a member today at teamkempire.com/join. More information on everything Kempire, including our housewarming registry is there. And shout out to all of you. I'm still getting some stuff, so I'm going to have to do a part 2 to the housewarming live that we did a couple of days ago. So I'm going to have to do a part 2. So stay tuned for that. And what else? So more information on everything Kempire will be available in the description, including, again, our friends over at Rose Forever who are sponsoring today's live recap. All right, where do I want to go back to? So we're in Big Bear. They're having a good time. It's so contrast. We're in Big Bear. It's cold. They're in like their snow stuff. They're making fun of Jenn, not knowing if she has a left or right foot, right shoe on. They're making fun of Alexis and her calling, FaceTiming with John and talking about their sex life. I don't know, Katie. First of all, Katie and I, we see each other because one of the things that Tamra told Jenn that she should do to make money was start an OnlyFans and do feet stuff. We learned that from Larsa. And then they do the feet stuff. I did not expect that that Tamra would put Jen's foot in her mouth. And then not just put her foot in her mouth, she licked it all. Me and Katie, we see each, I was not ready for that. I was a little grossed out by it. But look, to each their own. Jenn, you don't need to start an OnlyFans. I think you would do very well, but you don't need to do one. Okay? You have a man with $60 million that we don't know where it came from, and it's a bank account, allegedly. Okay. So we're in La Quinta, and Gina is me. Because, especially in this new apartment where, like, I haven't painted anything. It's all white walls and things like that. But with all white walls, like, you brush up with something, it's already, like, messy. Like, I have a white counter. I'm like... But that's the Taurus in me, the very anal part of me. But we have to remember, Gina's like, what was I thinking inviting these women to this home that I'm trying to sell to have a girls' night, and they're spilling things? Like, I'm nervous for Gina. First of all, I appreciate the fact that Heather decided to bring a grill. And she's like, I'm going to bring a grill. Yes, I know they have a grill, but that's a lot to clean up. You're selling this house. Like, she's thinking about these things. We've got Shannon making chili to bring chili on this trip. Sidebar, Shane told them no food in the car. Yet they're bringing nothing but food in this car. Okay. He knows his wife. Okay. He knows his wife is not going to listen to him. So they're in La Quinta enjoying the home. We get a tour of the home. The home is gorgeous. They're making dinner. They all have a girls trip t-shirts on. It goes left very quickly because Shannon tells Emily what Gina said about her being aggressive, that she's changed, that she's so far up Tamra's you-know-what. So I really believe that Emily was pissed because she's like, I'm always fighting for Gina. I'm fighting her battles all the time. So she comes in and you already know there's a change in her mood. So eventually when they sit down for dinner, Emily brings it up. And Gina, I have to say, you were really caught out there. When they explained everything, they laid it out. Mind you, over in Big Bear, Tamra's already gaslighting Katie and saying, like, do you think Gina set you up? And then the more she gives more information to Katie, Katie's like, well, I never thought about it that way. Maybe she did set me up. Tamra knows what she's doing. But at the same time, I don't believe that Gina is innocent. I think that Gina did set her up, but I also feel like Tamra's setting Katie up in this moment. She's pre-producing a moment. Yeah, I gotta put some lip chap on. So I believe all of those things can be true. So Emily gets really annoyed with Gina, and she's like, "Did you say this?" And Shannon's like, well, I didn't say it like that. I can't remember the specifics of what was said. Shannon basically says, oh, no, I just said that you said that Emily changed. No, I think you said a little bit more than that, Shannon. But it quickly goes from an argument between Gina and Emily to an argument between Heather and Gina. Because Heather's just like, I'm annoyed. First of all, Emily's annoyed. She's like, I don't know how my beef all of a sudden became a battle between Gina and Heather, but okay, fine. So Heather expresses to Gina, she's like, I feel like you betrayed me. I feel like you don't have my back. And then they catch her out there because she's like, oh, I called her 10 minutes later and told her don't do it. Only for Katie to tell Emily previously, like, she called me, it was weeks after she called me and said something. I believe Katie. I believe Gina was caught out there. I don't think she thought that Heather would have the reaction that she's having. And it was very clear, even when she had a conversation with Katie, that she was basically throwing Katie under the bus, that she was going to show loyalty to Heather, that she's known for, quote, years. Y'all known each other 2 seasons. It hasn't been years. What defines years? When people say years, I guess on reality television, it feels a lot longer. But when people say they've known someone for years, I feel like that for me is at least 5, 6, 7 years. Emily and Heather, they weren't on the same seasons, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like when Heather came back, that's when they became friends. I could be wrong though. You guys will correct me in the live chat, but I'm pretty sure. And if they were, they weren't friends during the time that Heather wasn't on the show. So it becomes this back and forth between Heather and Gina. And Gina's just like, you can't compare paparazzi photos to what Shannon said about CPS and my kids. And I had to rewind that back. And I was like, well, maybe Gina's right. And I was like, no, you're not right, Gina, unfortunately, because it's false accusations that affect Heather and her family. Look, Heather talks a really good argument because at first I was sort of like, well, no, you really can't compare them. And then when she explained, I was like, well, It does affect her children. I mean, Gina's kids are a lot younger than Heather's kids, but they're still kids. And she's saying that the kids were hearing about these fake rumors and the paparazzi, and they were concerned about the parents and things like that. And her daughter has anxiety. I'm like, all right. I mean, she talked a good argument. She won me over in the argument. I'm just saying. And if Gina thinks that she's going to win an argument with Heather Dubrow, I wish her luck. She's not equipped. The same way she's not equipped for fashion or makeup and hair, she's definitely not equipped to fight an argument against Heather. And I will say, I feel for Emily because it feels as if Gina's willing to fight for a friendship and do everything for Heather Dubrow, who she's just gotten to know, and that's not even her best friend, more than she is willing to go for Emily. Anyone else notice that? And I'm like, that's weird. And I feel like even though Emily is hanging out with Tamra, she's still very much a loyal friend to Gina. I feel like there's a difference in regards to Gina's loyalty. Gina has no loyalty. And at first I was sort of like blindsided by her. It's like, like just not, nonsensicalness. I don't know if that's a word. We'll make it a word. But then I saw a different side this week and I was like, oh, she lied. She lied. And did she set up Katie? Because maybe she's been set up in the past, or maybe she wanted relevancy, or maybe a producer was in her ears like, oh, I think you should do this. A lot of people always are saying that they want Gina off of the show. So maybe this was her way of like, I'm gonna produce a moment. Because let's be honest, these first 6 episodes, Gina has been a central focus. Let's be honest, like she's had her own little beef this season that they've really covered, along with Shannon and what's going on with Alexis. No one else really are we talking about like that. Katie, though, this whole situation with Heather Dubrow, you need to let it go. Because we already know that throughout the season, Katie and Heather just do not see it for each other. And I feel like it's so, if it's all because of the paparazzi stuff, it's ridiculous. And honestly, Katie, I said this before, I feel like they set you up. I feel like Tamra and Gina set you up and threw you under the bus. And I would have thought that you would have been a little bit smarter than that. But again, coming into this reality TV game is not easy, especially when people have been doing it a long time and you don't even see it coming. You don't think that people are going to do something like this to you. And they did. They did. They clearly set you up. It's okay. I still like Katie. I hate that she went down this road, but I still like her. I think she's a good addition. Very much like I still love me some Jenn. I think Jen's a good addition. I loved her from last season. I'm still enjoying her this season. Her kookiness, her funny, I feel like she steps up when necessary. I like the friendships that she's forming. I like that her and Tamra have been able to kind of get over what happened last season. It couldn't be me. This is why I couldn't be a good reality TV person or a good housewife, because the way that Tamra came after Jenn last season, I'd be done with her. But she's been able to look past that and still be able to have a good time and hang out with her. You are better than me. Anyone else? Like, she is better than me. I couldn't do it. I personally could not do it. But I thought this was a good episode because not only did we have some serious moments, we had some bickering, we had a lot of fun though. And I think that's lacking in the Housewives world. We don't have a lot of fun anymore. But I do feel like we had some fun in Big Bear. Very different type of fun there. Then we had fun in La Quinta. Then we had some drama. Drama that we didn't expect. Drama between Gina and Emily. Then, of course, Gina and Heather had their own drama. Then we had Alexis. So Alexis, at the end of this episode, I mentioned this a little bit already, brings up the whole, she has video footage that would ruin Shannon. She says she can't even look at Shannon the same after she saw this video footage. So apparently John Jansen has video footage of Shannon that night, because basically what we heard is she was with John Jansen that night when she was drunk and she got behind the wheel of a car. So I always find it suspicious when someone decides to record you in that state. And I tread lightly, Alexis, because I don't think this is going. First of all, the fact that you're even bringing it up. Last week you were bringing up, oh, we have receipts on the actual money that John Jansen lent her. you are being a puppet for John Jansen. And you're doing it because I guess you want to be back on Housewives. And that's pitiful because, again, you have become John Jansen's representative instead of coming to the show so people like myself that aren't familiar with you, besides Jesus Jugs, that want to get to know you, that have an open mind, kind of. I mean, the fact you came in dating John Jansen, not helpful, but I enjoyed Alexis in the episode where she was sort of like, like very like kooky. She's like, oh, where are the other girls? The girls are standing right there. like those moments, I was like, I don't mind Alexis. But then her on FaceTime with John and then defending John and then bringing up this video footage of Shannon. I appreciate people like Katie and Jenn saying like, this is too far. This is too far. Like this could trigger Shannon to go back into, having, drinking again. And Tamra's just sitting there. Just go back and go look at Tamra. Tamra was like eyes low, laid back on the couch like this. Mind you, probably still licking the damn apple pie, or I don't know what pie that was from Jen's feed. Disgusting. She probably didn't wash her mouth out. Gross. Look gross. Ew. Anyways. Guys, how would you rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County? I'm going to give this a solid 9. I thought it was a really great... Like, I'm tempted to give them a 10 because the way that they were able to jump from so many different scenes and have 2 separate group trips and have conflict, a little resolution, fun, humor. Like, I enjoyed both trips. And I enjoyed all the women. And normally that doesn't happen. I feel like they're having a good season. We're already on episode 6. I feel like OC is giving what you guys think Dubai is giving this season. I don't think Dubai is terrible this season, but a lot of you hype up Dubai, and I'm like, Dubai's okay. Like, obviously, I enjoyed the show, but the comparisons to Miami, there's no comparison to Miami. Miami had a stellar last 3 seasons. Sidebar, congratulations to Julia. And, oh my goodness, the greatest tennis player to ever do it. I apologize. I can't think of your name right now. It's okay. It's all right. But congratulations. They adopted 2 young boys. Cameras are not rolling. Like, life is happening in Miami and the cameras are not rolling. What is going on? What is happening? For those that thought that Miami's canceled, it's not canceled. I think they pushed it back because of everything that's been playing out on Bravo in regards to the network and pushing back stuff. So they decided not to film, which I can appreciate because they could film right now and then hold the season, and you guys wouldn't appreciate that. That's what you don't appreciate about Dubai. I can appreciate them holding out, but time's a ticking. Like, when are we going to start filming? Life's happening. Dr. Nicole had a baby. But I have to appreciate these ladies. For the most part, I don't really see all of them hanging out. Of course, Marisol and Alexia are friends. So they hang out and they do a podcast together. I see Dr. Nicole and Gertie. Who else? Like, some of them are still hanging out. I haven't really seen Adriana. But again, I don't follow them on social media unless they randomly pop up. You know how the algorithm is. So for the most part, I don't really see the other ladies, but I do see Gertie and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to Miami. Like, I mean, people like to compare certain shows to Miami. I'm like, no, there is no comparison. Those Miami girls set a new standard. Like, the first 3 seasons of Miami were good, but I wasn't sad. I wasn't sad to see them go. This new iteration, these last 3 seasons have been so stellar. So stellar. I don't care what the ratings say. It's been top tier. So when people try to compare, I'm like, no, not even close. Even the OC, although I'm enjoying the OC this season, I think this is probably one of their best seasons so far in the last couple of years, because I know it's lost its luster. As someone that started recapping it like 3 seasons ago, it's definitely gotten better. Is it Miami better? No, it's different, but Miami's definitely been better. It's probably one of the best of the franchise right now in comparison, in my opinion, for different reasons. Anyways, guys, what do you think? We went on a tangent. How would you rate this week's episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County? What stood out to you? Do you agree with me? Maybe you did have one particular girls trip that you thought was better than the other. I went in thinking, oh, I wonder, I'm probably going to love the La Quinta trip more than the other trip. And I liked both. And I think it was intentional from production to do the separate trips. I never thought of doing something like that. I thought this worked out. It worked out, and it worked out to be a good episode. What did you guys think? All right, you will let me know. As always, I want to say a shout out to our channel members. Become a member today at TheKempire.com/join. Thank you to our subscribers. Thank you to our King's Guards for always holding us down in the live chat and in the comment section. And shout out to the looky-loos that are watching in the bushes. It's fine. Keep watching. I appreciate that. Give me a like, though. Liking the video is an easy and free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. And don't forget, you can hear an audio version of this live recap and special episodes that are podcast exclusives on the Kempire podcast. Subscribe today, and then hit me up on Twitter at TheKempire to let me know Kempire subscribed, and I give you a 5-star rating. That way I know you guys are watching and listening. All right. But also follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram. Everything is at TheKempire. All that information, along with our Rose Forever sponsor today, will be available in the description. Thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you in the next one. Let's get out of here.
Like a G, sipping Hennessy, president of sweet, looking like a young Barack Obama. Skipping to the beat, giving hella heat. I'ma need a seat just to count up all these dots and commas. I think it's evident I'm the better man, I'm the jam. I'ma have you crushing like a 4-wheel monster. Who you know who looking like this for real? Who you know who looking like this? Baby, baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor, I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead, just watch the shoes. Gotta turn the heat up to get this cool. Weight up on my shoulders, all this jewelry on me. I wear my shades inside cause I go blind just looking down. Walking like the man, sipping Chardonnay on the balcony, looking like a young Elvis Presley. I've been overseas, I've been underneath, I ain't never seen nothing like a person 12 o'clock. I don't know nobody looking like that, I don't know nobody looking like that. I don't know nobody looking like that, I don't know nobody looking like that. Baby, baby, won't you listen to me? I got that flavor, I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet.